I'm fucking done with Yu-Gi-Oh. This game sucks. It's trash. Like, it's too fucking expensive. There's so many problems right now within Yu-Gi-Oh, and it pisses me off. Like as you were saying earlier.
Speaking from the competitive perspective, by the way.
Oh yeah.
If you're a collector, you probably don't really care for
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah. Like everything's just way too fucking expensive. And like going back to like what I was talking about before, like prosperity. There's two printings for prosperity. Why are they both secret? That why like what was the? I understand it's a business. Like I completely understand that fact. It's a fucking business, so they want to make money. You know, they want to sell more packs, yada yada, and they have nothing to do with the secondary market. But I can't say anything about that. But I can definitely bitch about the fact that they're like printing these like rarity. Like, why is there 3 secret printings of fucking droplets, and then an ulti, and an ultra, and the ultra is more than one of the secrets?
And they short printed the Ultra.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I shouldn't like getting like coming in like a let's just say like coming in from like a new player coming into the game. Like I love Yu-Gi-Oh personally, but like everything's so fucking expensive. Like if you want to play like a competitive deck, and I mean like actually competitive and win, not like coming in with like a tier 2 or tier 3, like coming in getting a solid tier 1 deck, like going to Power of the Elements. Your minimum, like just for the cores, usually you're paying like $200 to $300 for the core, and that's what like mostly everybody paid for their Sprite and tier element cores for the most part. Like the tier element core was a little cheaper. Now it's pretty fucking expensive, especially with this new list that didn't do fucking shit.
I want to add on just while you're talking about this. Usually, I wouldn't be mad about that because when they release a meta deck, the past precedent has been you get a year out of that meta deck, right? Give or take, sometimes, you know, some other meta decks power creep it a little bit, but for the most part, they're relevant, right? Like during Duelist Alliance for how long? It was 2014, right?
Yeah.
It was released initially. From 2014 to the end of 2015 when they just neutered everything from Duelist Alliance, you could have played Shaddolls, you could have played BA, you could have played Cleese, Necros, even Teller Knights, and you were still good for 2 damn years. What month did Duelist Alliance release?
What month? I don't fucking know. It beats me.
All right, we'll say at least a minimum of a year. You got a minimum of a year out of every single good archetype in Duelist Alliance. You got a minimum of a year out of it. And now, like, I bought Spray, so I am a little salty about it. The fact that it's been less than 2 months. Like, the deck came out less than 2 months ago, and they just destroyed it. Like, the Spray end board is so bad now because you can't make Toad consistently. If you play the Evil Twin version, it doesn't really fix anything. Like, the Evil Twin version was already a thing. The reason people didn't play that was because it was just so much worse than the Toad version. And now we were like, oh, well, you can do the Toad combo still because you just play Toad plus Extender and it's full combo. It's like, bro, you lost to 1 card on your 1 card combo, right? Nimble Beaver was Toad Elf, but it was 1 card. So if you get a hand trap in that 1 card, awesome. Now you have to play 2 cards minimum to still lose to 1 card. Tiers don't have that issue. They didn't hit tiers at all. And also all those tier victim wannabes out there that are like, oh no, we got hit too. We got Snow Band. We got Chaos Roller Band. The fuck up. Like, what do you mean you got hit? You got slapped on the wrist and you're acting like Spray over there bleeding out is going through as much pain as you are. That I've never been more pissed off at a ban list since that 2015 where they hit Construct, because Construct's my favorite monster. And Shaddol's my favorite archetype. Ever since that, I quit in 2015, played Cosmo for a bit afterwards, but for the most part, quit in 2015, played a few locals here and there, and then just was on and off, right? I came back, I played like Pendulum Magicians when that was released right before Master Rule 4 with Lynx. But I never got back into the game. I finally get back into the game. For the first time in forever, I'm like, let me buy a meta deck. I think Spray is pretty cool, and with tiers being also there, I feel like it'll be a fun. It won't be exactly like Duelist Alliance, but it'll be fun because it'll be kind of similar, where there's Bane like top decks and a bunch of rogue decks. And then they just said, fuck it, we don't want 2 good decks. We want 1 good waifu deck. And then all of those Spray cards with their drippy ass coats, get them out of here. Don't want them. Don't need them. And also, we don't like amphibians. That's what they told me with this ban list. So if you want to get back at Konami, I say we start a hashtag that Konami hates frogs. That'll get in the mainstream.
Konami hashtag.
Konami hates frogs. Konami wants to kill frogs. The amount of times they've hit frogs for other deck sins, you can't tell me they don't hate frogs.
Yeah, like totally.
Paleos were relevant. They said no, get Toad out of here. Sprites become relevant. Ronin, get him out of here. Frogs cannot catch a break. I'm pretty sure that if there's like one archetype or one card series that Konami hates the most out of anything they've ever made, it is the frog cards, because they will not let those cards rest in peace.
They're always
they bring them back somewhere to ban them again. You got they revive the cards and say I'm not done yet and start beating them up more. I need them to get anybody else making these ban lists. I feel like a community ban list at this point would be better than whatever they make. You made us wait 5 months for this. You made us wait 5 months for you to hit Toadin and Snow and act like it's the same hit to both decks.
We waited 5 months for what?
You 5 months for them to quote unquote hit both decks, which wasn't the same, by the way, obviously. 5 months for them to hit Chaos Ruler and Snow and be like, "Are you not entertained? We hit Tier." Meanwhile, we got Sprite twitching in the corner, hand behind the. You ever seen Peter from Family Guy fall over?
Yeah.
That's Sprite right now. And they're acting like Tears got hit hard.
Like
in this format is like the game already. Sorry, I'm gonna keep ranting for a second. The game was, in my opinion, was in a good spot if you were like a super competitive player. Pricing wise, we can talk about that. I think pricing wise, it's terrible how expensive the game has gotten for staples. But from a gameplay perspective, I feel like the game was in a very good position with Sprite and Tears being the top 2 decks and there being a bunch of rogue decks. Like it, for as strong as Sprite and Tier decks are, there were decks that have proven that if piloted well, if they make the right meta calls, they will compete really well. Sprite and Tears, for example, I don't think they've won a YCS yet. And they were now it's just Tears, the 2 best decks of the format. They couldn't win a single YCS, even though a majority of people who topped were playing those decks. Because all the rogue players made good meta calls. Rika made a good meta call. Mystic Mine, not gonna say made a good meta call, but he played Mystic Mine, so I guess it's a meta call. The fact that these 2 decks, and they weren't fair. I'm not gonna say tier limits are not fair. Sprites before this ban of Ronin were not fair. The fact that you can swarm the board with Sprites and you can nuke a board with Zeus, activate Gigantic, chain Zeus, clear the board and end on Elf Toad into a simple game state. That's stupid. That's really, really strong. And against Tears, the fact that they play on your turn more than you play is also really fucking stupid. But again, rogue decks have proven they can compete, and it's a pretty fun format. If you're super competitive, because also the good players have been topping consistently. You got Pac topping, you got Patrick Hoban who came back, he's topping, Kamal's topping, Jesse Kynes topping. Like all these good players who are proven are playing in a format where it's more centralized, because now skill matters more because so many cards are powerful. Like just making one mistake is a big issue. And they just said, fuck that, we want 1 tier 0 deck. And we don't want good decks, we want good deck. That's what we want. We don't need anything else. It's so dumb. On top of that, I defended them when they don't hit the decks directly. But the reason I defended them was because they kind of made that mistake before where they hit Pepe like a week after release. The amount, like, you remember when we went to locals, there were so many good players that just didn't show up anymore because they spent like over $1,000 on Pepe for it to get less than a week of play.
Yeah, I remember that.
They just stopped playing. What do they think is going to happen when so many players bought Sprite? And then they just ban Ronin, and now the deck is hands down worse than Tears. I wouldn't even say it's better than Punk Adventure. I think it's right. I think it's better than Punk Adventure. I should say that. I don't think it's that much better than Punk Adventure pre-Chaos Ruler. So like when they were safe locking and they were like the best deck of the format. I don't know what they thought. Like 5 months to do this.
they didn't even like really hit problem card. Like they hit like Snow, which I thought was a problem card. Chaos Ruler was, to be honest, it deserved it too. But like Mystic Mine is still here. Instant Fusion, Super Poly, Scythe is still here. Like they didn't do anything. Bro, they brought Judgment back. That's cool. You know, I'm happy.
Yeah, all those people, by the way, all you tier players who are complaining about not getting hit too hard, apparently, you still have Super Poly. You have a card that literally says they can't respond to it. Nobody can respond to this card. And also, I'm using your monsters as material. What do you mean? You didn't get hit at all.
Like, and this kind of this is another thing that I was like bitching about earlier. Like, and we're gonna I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna move away from price because I feel like I've complained enough about price. Like, Ash Blossom is a card that has 9 different printings. Right now, 8 out of 9 of them are all above $10. Well, all above like $13. And like the prices that are shown on my screen are also the prices for like moderately played, heavily played. Like these aren't even like the actual prices of like near mint cards. This common
What's that
Ash,
new common price?
The new common is $7 right now.
It's almost the price of the entire structure deck.
Like, and it's gonna be more because that's the trend with Ash. Like, it's cheap when it comes out, and it's gonna go up higher. Like,
yeah. That being okay, so the thing is, I agree with you on like I think Prosperity being printed as 2 secret rares is stupid, especially in a set where most secret rares are not most, but a lot of them are bad too in that 2022 tin. So printing it there, then short printing it on top of that, it looks like from the people who have opened like cases upon cases. I don't think Ash suffers from that issue. I think people just don't know what to price Ash at because you can't get any more guaranteed of an Ash print than a structure deck that says you're guaranteed Ash, and people are still pricing that shit at $17.
the problem lies within it's literally just because it's Ash. Like, it's like the well,
Yeah, but again, that one's not really a Konami issue. Like they're making this is as accessible as you can make a card.
well, yeah, like this is what I was saying. Like, not all of it's to blame on Konami. A lot of it is to blame on the secondary market, and that's like part of the problem. Like the secondary market for this game is absolute fucking garbage. Like all of it is, and I guess what I'm going to talk about next is kind of like, I guess, related to price, but like, as someone entering in, like, say I wanted to play like full price tiers, it's like $300 for the core right now at least, and then but on top of that, I'm gonna need other cards. I'm gonna need cards like all my staples, for example, like my Ashes, DD Crow, like Super Polys, all the extra deck cards, Access Code, Celine, things like that, and you're looking at like minimum, like usually like $500 to $600 just to get in, and that's assuming you're not even playing Prosperity. Like, I don't know if they fucking play Prosperity. They probably don't.
They do not.
Yeah, they don't. So, like, you have to get all your staples at some point. So your minimum of investment to like come into this game is like $1,000, and that's absurd. When I can go play fucking Pokemon, everyone loves Pokemon too. I was talking to someone who had just won like some event at Prodigy. And I asked him for the deck list because I wanted to get into Pokemon. And I looked up the deck list, and bro, like, every single card, I can get the whole deck for like $30. And like the argument behind like people not wanting to play Pokemon is, like, oh, there's set rotation. Who cares? If I don't have to pay like $300-400 every single time I want to play the best deck, I'll deal with set rotations. Like, I don't care. Pokemon is like more loved for 1, 2. So they print a lot more, which is really nice. So like you have like for example, like this is what I was talking about before, like the Reggie deck. The Reggie deck's like a solid rogue deck to play, and it wins. It has done things. Like this is your big beater, by the way. This 80 cents, and this is for like a reverse holo, 60 cents, right? And then for your Reggies, they're all literally less than 10 cents. Like for all they're. Your decks are so cheap, and the skill gap too, and that's like another big thing that I feel like, and which this still doesn't make sense to me. I don't know how Yu-Gi-Oh keeps getting more players. It's so much easier to play a card game like Pokemon. In Yu-Gi-Oh, you have to learn about like, and this is from me playing for years. I've been playing for like 8 or 9 years, I want to say. You have to learn like every card, and I say this because you have to play around certain cards, like because Pokemon's so much more simplified, which I like it. You get an energy every turn. You can summon your Pokemon, you can evolve them, and you can attack, and that's it. There is no interactions with your opponent outside of there isn't, which is a nice thing. In Yu-Gi-Oh, it's a lot different. The skill gap for people to get in is so much harder. Like, I can bring, like, say I had a fucking son who's like 8 years old. I can bring him, show him the basics of the deck, and he can do it like pretty good at a fucking tournament, like for Pokemon. Meanwhile, I have like, I try to bring my like 8-year-old son into playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and he gets his shit rocked for like 2 years because he's still learning everything. And I understand it's like a skill that becomes like a skill issue, but between like money, skill, and just the overall card game, like even the prizing sucks in fucking Yu-Gi-Oh. Like it really doesn't have a lot of redeeming qualities. I only play it because of my friends. That is the only reason why I still play it, and that's not even enough for me anymore. Like, I want to play Pokemon because of this. Like putting money aside, I can't justify getting a deck for like 3 to 4 months, and that's being generous. Getting my deck for 3 to 4 months, having it get slaughtered by the ban list, and then paying like another $300-400 for the next best deck, and doing that multiple times a year, that's just not feasible. Like, I love Yu-Gi-Oh, and if you can afford it, fucking play it. I'm not like shitting on people who can afford it, because at the end of the day, if you love it and you want to keep playing it, go fucking do it. Like, not everyone is in the situation where they need to get back into the card game or they don't have the staples. But, you know, for the people who want to try to play the card game, you know, introducing new players, it's so fucking rough. And that's why, like, even when people ask me, like, should I play Yu-Gi-Oh? I don't tell them they should. Like, it can be fun, but if you want to play it, play the free simulators online. Play fucking Dueling Book. Play Master Duel if you even want to. Like, if you really want to play, like, a Konami thing. Like, play Master Duel. Play Dueling Nexus. Like, it's not, it just doesn't feel worth to me investing in this card game anymore. Like, and I say investing because that's what it is. Like, I'm putting my money into these expensive ass cards so I can go play tournament. Like, when I say it like this, and this is what pisses me off when I say it out loud, I'll go to locals, and let's say I get sacked or I have bad luck, so I go X1, like on a Wednesday, and because and on a Wednesday we don't play out top 8. So if I say I go like X1 and I get like 5th place or I get like 4th, I spent $10 in like 5 or 6 hours of my time to then get $20 back in store credit. And when I look at that, I'm like, I just can't. That pisses me off. That's so fucking stupid. Like, and that more is directed to, you know, the card stores. But I understand they have to make like some sort of profit, whatever. But going to like a regional, for example, you go to a regional. Let's say you get top 8. You get a mat. If you get top 4, you get a mat and a deck box. And then if you get like first place, you get like a mat, a deck, and a nicer deck box. And like that's it. Like, there's no cash prize. Like, there's no real incentive anymore. Like, you could sell the stuff you get. Like, the only time it's ever worth it is if you can like go to the bigger events, like the YCS, the Nationals, where you're getting fucking prize cards. Then you can at least sell it. But then like you're investing not only into this deck, you're investing your time, money into this deck. Now you also have to buy a plane ticket. And then you also have to buy hotels if you don't know anyone in that area who lets you stay. You also, if not, you have to fucking drive there. If you're not gonna get a plane ticket. And same thing, if you don't know anyone who's gonna let you stay, like, just competitively, it just doesn't feel fucking worth it. Okay, yeah. Right.
I also think this is a big issue for not just Konami. Because to them, it's not an issue at all. They keep breaking record participations at all their events. They're selling out like every new set. This is an issue with the player base. Everyone complains that the prices are way too high. That Konami's short printing cards. That Konami's rarity bumping good cards. And then they sell out anyways. You do realize like blue would not be expensive if people just said, I'm not spending more than $5 on this card. Granted, it's kind of not really short printed, but it's a secret rare. So it is going to have some value regardless, right? But if everybody agreed they're not spending more than $5 on a secret rare gigantic sprite, sprite blue, it wouldn't be $50. If everyone agreed that they're not paying more than $5 on a tier limit field spell, it wouldn't be more than $5. The issue is, and again, this is just human nature, when you see a good deal, you're gonna get that good deal, right? So for us, oh, it's at it was at 70. I see a card for 65. You know, that's I'm kind of getting on a discount, right? Like it's not really a discount. You're paying 65 bucks because people are telling you it's worth 65 bucks. Everyone wants that card. So even if they're not selling a lot, because the card's relevant, people are going to make that card higher. And if no one's undercutting constantly, it's going to be hard to do that because, again, everyone's going to look at it like, oh, 70 is like the price for the card. So if you try to undercut that, they're going to buy it immediately because they think it's a good price. So this is more of an issue with the player base as well because everybody is buying cards that aren't really worth the value. Obviously, it's cardboard at the end of the day, so it's not really like no card is inherently worth the value. But a regular fucking secret rare from a main set is not worth $100. Like a Starlight Rare, sure. As far as I'm aware, they don't reprint Starlight Rares. No. A Collector's Rare, as far as I'm aware, they don't reprint Collector's Rares. So those are like, that's the one printing the card gets. That's all it'll ever get. I can almost guarantee at some point, they're going to reprint the Field Spell and Sprite Blue. And they're probably going to do it in Secret Rare as well. Like they did with Cosmo Dart Destroyer. They didn't reprint it exactly in the Secret Rare, but they made a gold Secret Rare version of the card. It was like $10
no,
when it came out.
It was like 20.
Was it?
Yeah.
Either way, it was down from $100 to that, and it was still kind of the same rarity. Like, yes, it was yellow, I guess, but the card went down, and it was a secret rare. These cards aren't worth the value, but we keep buying the shits, which makes them just never. This also goes to the prosperity thing. The reason they rarity bumped everything is because y'all fuckers kept buying out the tins. And it's not like this was hidden, right? It's not like we only found out after opening the tins that, oh, every good card's a secret rare. No, y'all fuckers knew you get, what, 3 secrets per tin?
Yeah, 3
secrets
right? And 6
You get 3 secrets per tin. Every good card is a secret, and there are like, what, 20 secrets?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all knew this going into it, and you bought out every single Mega Tin, thinking that it was going to be sweet. That Konami was holding your hand into the new meta and giving you all these good staple cards for a low price. We need to, like, if we as a player base just stop doing that shit, the game would be so much better because they would start doing what the OCG does, where the OCG releases like multiple printings of the same card in the same fucking set. You can get a high rarity version of Bright Blue, I think, and a low rarity version of it. So if you want to spend the money and have some, I guess, stunt on people. Damn, they've dropped by like $5. And stunt on people by making like your Sprite Blue a little shinier, then I guess you could do that in the OCG. But if not, you can still buy like an affordable, good meta deck. You can still compete. But at the end of the day, we all play this game to compete. So the fact that there's a huge paywall, which for me personally, I bought Sprite because I thought it was going to be a good deck for a while. Only for them to neuter it the very first list after it was released. Which also is a whole separate issue, which I went on a rant before about. I'm not going to do it again. That shit hurt my throat. But the point is, we as a player base are as much to blame as Konami. We just like to blame Konami because like it's easier to go look at them and be like, y'all are the issue. Anyway, how much are the Megatins? You said $20. Let me just pull out my wallet. You guys take cash? You guys take cash or card? And then we just swipe this shit. Some of us go in debt doing this shit. Like we're just like, oh, just swipe it. Yeah, 300. Yes, put that on my tab.
On the tab, like.
You guys, is there a Konami credit card I can sign up for? You get like 10% cash back or something.
So many people would be signing up for that.
That's what I'm saying. Like people are obsessed with this game, and like they'll buy out anything that is even. Everything's a fucking scam in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right? They only, at least in the TCG, because they only print the good cards in higher rarities. Obviously, it's happened before where they didn't do that. Like Trick Clown was a fucking common. That was insane. Monarchs were in a structure deck, and that was one of the. Granted, it was during Draco Pal, so even though it was a meta deck, it was one of the weaker meta decks because it was stupidly inconsistent. But the point is, it was a structure deck. You paid $30, you can build. Kind of obviously you would need other cards outside of the structure deck, but you can at the very least you can enter locals with 3 structure decks of Monarchs and do well. But now you can't do that shit. You got to buy 3 prosperity, And not only that, it kind of like even people who have the money to do this, it kind of fucks them up because you're telling me I have to buy not even the highest rarity of the card because there's a Starlight version of Pot of Prosperity. Spend $100 on the secret rare version for you to then reprint it, make it lose value in the same fucking rarity it was already released in. Like people who buy these $100 cards that aren't even the highest rarity of the card also get fucked by this because you're just telling people, yeah, buy this $100 card. There's a $400 version of the card which won't lose value because it's the one printing of a very rare rarity. But buy this kind of rare rarity relative to the other common rarities. It's $100, by the way, which obviously they don't control that, but they control the printing of it. So that exists. We as players, obviously, we want to play it, but a lot of us don't want to drop $400 on a single card, even if it's going to hold value. So you buy that secret rare, only for them to reprint that shit. Like not even a year. How long has Prosperity been out?
God, it's
2 years.
At least a year, at least.
Yeah, at the very least, a year, right? Let's assume at most 2 years. I'm not even sure. But the point is, it was a $100 card, 2 years. Let's say, what was Blazing Vortex?
That's what I'm checking right now.
Okay.
Release date,
I remember you opened one bot.
Yeah, no, I opened. It's been above a year.
It's been a little over a year. Okay.
No,
So you get a year to play with staples that are $300 for a playset. For them to reprint it, it drops half in value, and eventually they're going to release a common version of this card, right? I think they did it with Desires. Have they done it with Extrav yet? I don't think they've done it with Extrav, but there are low rarity versions of Extrav that are like $1.
yeah.
They're gonna do that shit with Prosperity. So even like competitive players, there is a common version of it. So they're gonna make a common version of Prosperity at some point.
Yeah.
But players who are competitive that are dropping $300 on a playset because they want to stay competitive, but they want to spend $400 on one card, it would be like $1,200 on a playset, which is insane to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Do this, and then they reprint it, which they shouldn't have made this card a secret rare to begin with, but they did. They reprint it. Now they pissed off the players who are competitive, want to play competitively, but you just ruined the value of their card. Which again, granted, I'm never gonna sell my Prosperities to begin with. So to me, it's irrelevant. They can drop to a dollar tomorrow. I'm not selling them regardless, right? So the point is, it makes them feel bad regardless. Like I'm looking at a $100 card right now. What was a $100 card for me? At half the value they are now. And then eventually there's going to be a common print of it. It's going to drop it down even further. Extrav used to be like, what, 30, 40 bucks, 50 bucks? It's at 10 bucks for the original printing of the card.
$100 on... I spent $300 on a place that's like a plan for Annoyed, so... Yeah.
All right, so we'll say... Oh, I'll say 50 just to not highball it. They were at minimum 50 before for the original printing. They're at 10 bucks. You can get the original secret rare printing of a pot of Extrav for 10 bucks when it was at minimum 50 bucks in the past. And eventually it's going to happen with all the pot cards, right? They're going to release some other broken pot card in the future that everyone's going to need in a secret rare, like they've done with Desires, like they've done with Extrav. I think they've done it with every pot, actually. Have they done it with, like, Dichotomy?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Like, they do this with every single pot card. I guess just in case it does pop off. Yeah. I guess just in case it does pop off, it's a secret rare, and they don't have to like wipe the sweat off of their forehead if they didn't remember to make it a secret rare. They just do it just as practice. So it's dumb, but we as players are also to blame because we keep buying these shits.
We keep enabling all this like shitty behavior, but yeah, that's all it is. We just keep enabling it. Like no one, and it's almost impossible to get everyone to just like freeze and be like, no, don't buy the cards you want, because you can't tell people to just not buy cards. Like, yeah.
So the only way this is going to change is if, I guess, if someone just brand new takes over Konami. But the other way it's going to change is that if enough you don't have to get everybody on board with this, but if enough players just say like, I'm going to sit out like 2-3 formats, they're going to change something, right? The issue is we've realized at this point that Konami is pretty damn greedy. Yeah. So the moment, like if we sit out 2 formats and they have like half the participation that they did in the past, what they're gonna do is they're gonna release like some insane, crispy ass like a major side sets They're gonna reprint everything in common. And then they're gonna release another set when participation starts going up of like the most busted card ever. That's super heavily short printed. That's like $200 per copy. And players, because we're already invested in Yu-Gi-Oh, are gonna be like, well, I guess I gotta buy it.
I just guess I gotta buy it. Yeah.
So I don't know where Konami well, not Konami. I don't know where we as players go from here. That being said, Yu-Gi-Oh is in a shitty place. Okay. Yu-Gi-Oh is in a shitty place because Konami has been enabled to do all this. And players obviously have like no self-control. Granted, I'm one of those players apparently because I bought Prosperity at $100 each. But I don't even feel like playing anymore after they hit Sprite, and I bought that deck thinking I was gonna have at least a year of playtime out of it. The fact that they then reprinted Prosperity, which is whatever. If more people have Prosperity, I have no issue with it. I already have my Prosperities. But then they also destroy Sprite, which I would love to be proven wrong that Sprite can still compete. I just don't see it because Toto is such an essential part to the end board. So I bought Prosperities. They ruined it for me, quote unquote, ruined it for me by reprinting it in the same rarity. So it just lost value because of that. Granted, I'm more than happy that more players are going to have more access to it. But the worst part is it's not even at a good price point where you can say, yeah, it was worth the reprint. It's still $40. It's $20 less than the original printing. At that point, just save the extra $60, buy the original printings.
Yep.
So they fucked it up because they reprinted Prosperity in the same rarity it was already in, ruining the value for me as a player, but they didn't lower the value enough for casual players, I guess, or just players who don't want to invest a ton of money into the game, to be like, yeah, it's budget now. So it's not a budget card, but they fucked the value up for me in order to sell tins. On top of that, because they hit Sprite Blue, I don't feel, damn, I'm so glad I bought a playset.
God
I'm so glad I bought a playset.
$21.
But on top of that, the fact that they hit Sprite so early on and they hit it like really hard, like they didn't hit any engine card, but the deck was a toolbox deck, so it relied on like level 2s being good and rank 2s being good, and the Frog engine was an important part of that. So then they just hit that. I don't feel safe in buying any meta deck. Like I don't even want to. I would, if this was like 2 ban lists down the line and they did this, I would be like, all right, I'll just sell whatever's left of my Sprite deck and just buy tier limits. I don't want to buy tier limits now, because what's to say that in another month they're like, oh well, I think we need a new ban list because I think we underdid it on tier limits last ban list. Because again, there's also there's no set ban list date. They can drop one tomorrow if they want to. Again. Because I guess they just like forgot something on this list, right? Like, oh, I forgot by the way, Upstart to 2. Or some bullshit like that. They can do it tomorrow if they wanted to. There's nothing stopping them. Granted, they're the company, they can literally change the rules at any point, but the principle still stands. Because there's no set list, I have no idea how much time I'm going to get out of my purchase for whatever deck I get. Because when did Sprite release? I'm pretty sure it was like, was it August or... Well, it was August, right?
It was August, yeah.
You got a month to play Sprite.
No fucking way it was August. There's no way. Power of Elements? I gotta look this up. There's no fucking way.
You got a month, a singular month to play. I'm pretty sure it was August. You got a month to play Sprite, and then they fucked the deck.
Oh, August 5th.
You got a month
Holy
to play
shit.
Sprite, and then they fucked the deck. Bro, I don't want to buy another deck. The worst part is, it'd be different. Like, if Sprite was dominating to the point where like Pepe levels or Necros levels when Jin was a thing, right? At least I can like objectively look at it and be like, okay, they hit it because the deck was like stupid good. Like it was too damn strong. It was arguably the second best deck of the format, and they hit it harder than the first while doing nothing to Tears, which again, you could argue either way if it was the first or second best deck of the format. The point is, it was neck and neck with Tears, and they said, let Tears run the format for a little bit. Let's see how they do. By the way, Sprite, get in your room. You're not allowed out.
Get in your room.
You got a month. Like I'm getting. The more I talk, the angrier I get at the fact that I bought Sprite. Like I got a month of. I came back to the game fully expecting to play this game for a while, because I wanted to get back into Yu-Gi-Oh. I told Aaron this, that I wanted to get back into Yu-Gi-Oh. I wanted to go to like to nationals. I wanted to travel a little more. And now that I have a good job, I wanted to go to these events more often. I was going to regionals more often. I got a single month out of Sprite. I don't want to play Yu-Gi-Oh anymore. The fact that my entire good meta deck is now like irrelevant, which I think is going to be irrelevant. Some people are like on some heavy copium, like, oh, Evil Twin just as good. Just because Toad isn't banned, even though it's, and then they're like, oh, well, you only need 2 cards now to make the Elf Toad combo, where you still lose to 1 card, regardless of whether or not you use 2, 3, 4, 5 cards to make Toad. That combo specifically fucking sucks now, because it used to be a 1 card combo to end on Toad Elf. Now it's 2 cards, and you still lose to 1 card in that combo. The difference is you just invested 2 cards out of your hand to do that. It's just terrible. It feels terrible that I bought a meta deck for them to be like, by the way, your meta deck? No. Just not. I don't feel like it should be relevant anymore, even though it was just released. The worst part is there was a set precedent prior to this ban list, where they wouldn't really hit a deck hard up until the last wave of support. That was a set precedent they had for a while. But I guess they just said, fuck that. You get a month. You get a month to play your new deck. If you don't like it, you don't get it.
You don't like it, you're not getting it. Alright.
So I don't think I want to play Yu-Gi-Oh, but I don't like tiers that much, even though I'm a lover of Shaddolls. And I love fusion decks. I think tiers, the mirror match is so fucking stale when Ishizu comes out, especially. Which is why I like Sprite, because the mirror match of Sprite was like, it was very, it wasn't, I don't say it was as skill intensive as a tier mirror, although the tier mirror does have some level of luck with it. But it was very skillful. The tier mirror was insane to watch, but I could never. The Sprite mirror, on the other hand, you knew what every single card your opponent had was. So there was skill in that. You had to play through known disruptions in a way that made it so you could still end on the board while clearing theirs. That was skillful. I actually really enjoyed this format because of that. Because if I'm going against tier elements, I know I'm going to have a game where I'm going to get pissed off because they milled every single name in just one normal summon. Okay, that's fine. Not really, but I'll live with it. And against Sprite, I know that I'm going to play through Toad Elf plus Smashers minimum. So I built my decks around that. And it was a fun format. Now it's bullshit. Now I don't want to play anymore because I don't want to play the tier mirror match. Now I can't stop tiers. The Sprite mirror is just a matter of who goes first, I guess. Because you don't have a way to set up your own negates on your turn anymore through multiple disruptions, right? Like, it used to be like you can just like Zeus and then end on Toad Elf. Now they have to play through your Toad. You can't do that shit anymore. You clear the board, then cry, not even cry, you just hope and cry that your opponent doesn't have the immediate out to your no negates. Because you can't end on Toad as easily anymore.
Alright. Point of this rant, Yu-Gi-Oh sucks right now. Konami, please fix it. It
Also,
is on
unban
us.
Ronin.
Oh.
Take Substitute back. Who asked for that? Who wanted that? Nobody ever said, I want Substitute back. I would give up Ronin. No one said that, Konami, and you know that. You know that damn well.
Ban Super Poly, because fuck that card.
Yeah, that card should never come back. Just like Snow, that card should have. I don't know who the fuck. I want to be hired at Konami. I can make dumbass decisions.
You need someone to make stupid decisions? I got you.
Bro, I would put every single card ever made on a giant like dartboard and just throw them behind me. Just throw the darts behind me and be like, what are we hitting today? Oh shit, it looks like Crystal Clearwing Synchro Dragon is getting the hammer.